Today we watched Boogie. This is our last film we have to review today. So Aiden, what's the plot of Boogie?
Boogie is about an Asian American man named Boogie. His real name is something. And his mom is a little bit overbearing, and his dad forces his dreams on him, and he plays basketball. And for some reason, Pop Smoke plays this other basketball guy, and everyone in the entire city knows Pop Smoke because he's so good at basketball.
He's the best baller.
Boogie's mom knows him, and this fucking dweeb Asian guy named Melvin knows him, and fucking everyone knows Pop Smoke. Everyone talks about how cool Pop Smoke is and how fucking Boogie needs to beat Pop Smoke and it's the most important thing in the world. And Boogie gets he fucks some fucking girl.
And who also fucked Pop Smoke.
And then who also fucked Pop Smoke. And he has a cool English teacher who sits on the ground and is casual and cool and hip with the kids. Talks about John Wick and teaches him about coming of age stories because this is a coming of age movie and they need to hammer it home that it's a coming of age movie. And also the main actor's in high school even though he's 28 in real life. And he looks 28, he does not look like a high schooler. So Connor, what did you think of Boogie?
I thought Boogie was absolute dog shit trash. Probably one of the worst movies I've seen in a minute. So like you said,
Yes,
all the characters are fucking old. Even though they're all supposed to be 18, which I just don't buy. I'm 22. If you look like you're 5 years older than me, you can't play a high school character. If you look like you're 15 years older than me, like the main character does, you can't play
The
a high
main
school
character
person.
guy had a fucking lumpy ass face. He looked 35.
And you know what? The acting wasn't terrible. The only aspect I really liked was the love story to an extent. But the problem is the love story was based around a movie that was really stupid. Why did it matter that he fought Pop Smoke when he got the Chinese when he joined the Chinese basketball league and got $750,000, which would support his family, and he can work hard, and he's a professional basketball player now? Why does it matter that he got the scholarship, other than the fact that he's like, oh no, I could have played as a fucking basketball player in America, which I wanted. Why did his dad go to jail for beating up the guy, and then how could the guy just say, actually I dropped charges, and he gets freed? That's not how that works. Why was... There's so many issues with this. When did he learn to work as a team? I mean, he beats Pop Smoke at the end of the movie because he does teamwork, right? That's what it all leads up to. But it doesn't matter that he beats Pop Smoke. That's completely pointless and irrelevant to whether or not he beats Pop Smoke.
It's
a Rocky
by the
style
time he
story,
fights, by the time he goes up against Pop Smoke, he's already signed the contract. He gets extorted into signing the contract with the fucking Chinese Basketball Association.
Which is how it goes at the end.
And he doesn't do anything about this extortion. There's this fucking dweeb guy called Melvin who is like, either your dad goes to jail or you sign the contract. And instead of reporting the guy to the police for blackmail, he's just like, yeah. He signs the contract, and at the end of the movie, presumably, he goes to China and does his fucking crap. But then he also gets the scholarship that he wanted, but he can't go because he has this Chinese whatever the fuck. And then at the end of the movie, he's about to go up against the fucking Pop Smoke in his high school basketball game, and that gets called off because...
Which we never know that he's part of the high school basketball team.
We only ever see Pop...
in New York.
We only ever see Pop Smoke play in fucking street games. It almost makes more
sense that he is... that his parents and crap know about Pop Smoke because he's a big high school player, but they don't describe that.
You only ever see Pop Smoke at the fucking street player, and everyone's like, this is the fucking best guy.
Street player. They call him a street player, always.
Yeah.
And he plays street, and he plays rough.
And
he's all violent, and you're like, okay, so
after everything in the movie has been resolved, the entire movie is resolved, and then him and Pop Smoke just have a basketball game that has no stakes. It has no influence on... It's not like if you win this game, you're going to college.
I also like
if
how
you win this game, you'll get this
they're
deal.
behind it.
He already has the deal. He already has the college thing that he can't accept. He just fights. He does this basketball game against Pop Smoke.
You know what I hate about the
There's
climax
nothing.
too? Okay, so the climax sets it up. There, Pop Smoke's up 10 points at the start of the second round. 2 minutes later, he's ahead of Pop Smoke again. Okay, good, fine. So is Pop Smoke gonna come back? No. What happens is at the end, they say Pop Smoke needs to score this goal so that he can tie up the points and bring it into overtime. Oops, Pop Smoke missed, so I guess we're not going into overtime. We win. That's not an effective climax. And it's not like Rocky where he's a fantastic basketball player. Everyone dick sucks him the whole time about how great of a basketball player he is. And then it just turns out like, it's not a Rocky Balboa story where Rocky's like an okay boxer who Apollo Creed underestimates, so Rocky's able to have a chance against him.
Well,
and
the thing is,
he becomes amazing.
Rocky is an okay boxer. They talk about through the entire movie how Rocky has a lot of potential, but he doesn't live up to it. He doesn't
fulfill it.
He's like the supreme underdog. Like,
you're right.
He's incredibly underdog, and he trains incredibly hard.
And he finally starts believing in himself.
He believes in himself. He finds people who believe in him. He works really hard to come close to the level. He doesn't surpass Apollo. He comes close to the level of Apollo. And he's
happy just to have gone against Apollo and had a good match, even though he loses.
In this movie, from the get-go, through the whole thing, they're like, Boogie, you're a fantastic basketball player, and your only issue is that you have a slight temper. Like, Boogie and Pop Smoke are on basically the same level through the entire movie. It's not like he works hard to overcome this huge obstacle. It's just like he already was that good. He
overcame the obstacle. He was a really good basketball player, and the Pop Smoke thing is just a mental hurdle, or like a hurdle that's like, oh, he beat Pop Smoke. That's all that happens at the end is we can say, oh, he beat him. He beat him.
There's nothing to it.
It's the final stake. It's the final game. It's like if he loses, okay, he loses, but he's still a fantastic basketball player, so who cares? Yeah. And if he wins, he wins. Even nothing changes.
If he
At
loses,
least in Rocky, it's like he had to have the courage to stand up.
If he loses,
Boogie's not afraid to play this guy in basketball.
If he loses,
it just doesn't matter.
Boogie's already signed a fucking near $1 million contract with the Chinese Basketball Association or whatever the fuck.
Which he has to fulfill, win or lose.
Yeah, no matter what, there's no stakes to him winning or losing. Like the girl, his girlfriend character already loves him. If anything, he's the one being a fucking asshole to her. It's not like it's conditional to get the girl. It's not conditional to get his career. The Pop Smoke thing is entirely irrelevant, and the only thing he gets from the Pop Smoke thing is that Pop Smoke comes up to him and says, "You're pretty good at basketball. Nice job.
We're friends now." But the other thing too
there's no relevance.
Pop Smoke or fucking Boogie gets in a fight with Pop Smoke at the basketball game, which you think would add tension, and if there was actually stakes to the basketball game, it would matter. The issue is there isn't stakes. So Pop Smoke acts like fucking Boogie succumbs and acts like an asshole along with Pop Smoke, which causes him to forfeit the game in terms of the actual league.
But he wasn't allowed to play in that game already.
And then he's considered a hero because why? There's no point.
The other fucking thing is that fucking shit. I had something I wanted to say.
Okay, I'll keep going. If you remember it, say it. The girlfriend situation. He's mad at her because she had sex with Pop Smoke before they started dating, and he's like, "You lied to me." That's not how that works.
Yeah, she didn't.
Like,
lie
if
at
I
all.
start dating a girl, I can have sex with 1,000 girls beforehand. She said I had sex with somebody else, but that's irrelevant because that's in the past. True.
Yeah.
So then, what is he mad about? If he's like, okay, that kind of sucks that my, like, I can see a minor conflict building from that, but he's like angry about it. He's like, you lied to me. No, she didn't. She didn't lie about shit. Maybe he's ass hurt about it, but that just makes him look like even more of a bitch. Boogie just feels like a bitch this whole movie.
Yeah.
and he's just a really lucky Mary Sue bitch. And then he makes the Catcher in the Rye thing piss me off, because this whole movie,
God.
it's like, what's a good tale? And he's like, I don't think Catcher in the Rye, like, I don't think the main story in Catcher in the Rye really applies to most people. It's this other side story, whatever. And then the teacher's like, that's a great point, that's the best point ever. And everyone starts clapping, and it's like, okay, so the director's sucking his own dick because of his hot take on Catcher in the Rye.
The fucking
when
thing,
he was writing this.
There's like, throughout the movie, the only class we ever see him in is English class. And he has this cool, hip professor who sits cross-legged on the ground, and he's jive with the kids. He sits cross-legged, and he's like, we're gonna spend this whole English class talking about coming-of-age stories. And it's like the most obvious spelling shit out to the audience. It's like, this is a coming-of-age story, but it's not your...
One's dead. I'm surprised we made it this long, whatever.
It's not your mom's coming-of-age story. It's not Catcher in the Rye. It's about the underprivileged Asian Americans. And there's some weird fucking shit. Like, there's this one scene where Boogie hangs out with this Japanese guy who's only in one scene. And he's like, everyone discriminates against us because of World War II. Like, okay, dog. Okay. You think anyone in the last, like, fucking 40 years has gone up to a Japanese person and been like, we fucking nuked you in World War II, you fucking bucktooth, whatever the fuck? That's not true. That's not fucking true, dog. That's fucking, you're pulling that out your ass, dude. Nobody in the fucking... Boogie? It's not fucking 1952. Nobody's getting fucking... Japanese people aren't being fucking locked out of businesses over fucking World War II anymore.
Boogie, as a character, just comes off as incredibly unlikable.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole.
He's an asshole, and he doesn't learn anything, and he just makes everything worse, but it doesn't matter because he's such a Mary Sue, it just all works out. And everything's stupid. The fucking character... I don't hate the idea of the manager character, but they kind of just fuck him up. Everything feels like a self-insert for the director. Like, the director's like, what if I was really fucking good at basketball? I have a sexy girlfriend, but I get mad at her because in the past she had sex with one other guy who happened to be my enemy, who isn't even necessarily a bad guy. He's just good at basketball and, like, hurts people in street basketball, which is, like, a thing in street basketball. And he said, even our main character said, like... It's not like the main character, like, disavowed it, where he's like, I would never hurt somebody in, like, basketball, because it's just a game, it's not worth it. No, he's like, yeah, if I was in Pop Smoke's situation, I'd do the same thing.
That's the fucking thing, dude.
There's nothing evil about Pop Smoke.
We see Pop Smoke in one scene.
They make him menacing, and they put menacing music, but he's not menacing, actually.
In one of the early scenes where we see Pop Smoke playing basketball, he pushes a kid over, and the kid breaks his fucking ankle or something. And Pop Smoke laughs at him, and they make him out to be this giant asshole, and Boogie's like, I would probably fucking break someone's ankles to win at basketball, and his girlfriend's like, that's really fucking mean, don't do that. And he's like, okay, I won't.
And there's no payoff. There's an opportunity.
There's no payoff.
There could have been a payoff where he knocks over Pop Smoke, and Pop Smoke gets hurt, and Boogie helps him up or something, instead of laughing at him to show, like, sportsmanship. Yeah. That doesn't happen. Well, there's not a part where Pop Smoke breaks his ankle.
The lesson he learns,
love is overcome.
The lesson he learns doesn't make any fucking sense.
He doesn't learn a lesson.
No, he does, but it doesn't make sense because throughout the whole fucking thing, Boogie's always like the star of his team. He's the best player. He fucking owns, and everyone sucks his dick, and he's the fucking best player, and he doesn't care about teamwork or whatever the fuck. Okay. And then during the fucking Boogie match, after he gets the whole team disqualified because he's a fucking asshole, he's like, teamwork matters. I'm not the only person on this team. I can't take Pop Smoke alone. We have to be a team.
Yeah, but when does he?
And it comes out of fucking nowhere. He learns this. He learns this off screen. The team gets disqualified. The next scene, he's like,
no,
the team needs
to
be
the
the team.
Shaman woman.
Yes. Okay. He meets with the fucking Chinese fortune teller.
Who's like, oh, you must have worked as team.
And he's like, the team fucking, he learns his lesson about teamwork and becomes friends with his fucking teammates or whatever the fuck. I don't fucking know. It's stupid. And Pop Smoke doesn't know the value of teamwork or something. I don't know what the fucking lesson is. It's a horrible payoff.
But then at the end, Pop Smoke has a better arc, and Pop Smoke's entire thing is looking menacing and walking with swagger as evil music plays. But then at the end, he's like, "Boogie, you're a really good basketball player. Nice job, man."
Speaking
I think
of
Pop Smoke learns
music,
more and is also less of an asshole.
This movie has some manipulative ass music. There's
The
the
whole
fucking
time.
scene where the fucking the dweeby fucking nerd fucking coach guy is named Melvin because he's a fucking dweeby nerd, and he's like, "I got you the fucking Chinese Basketball Association deal." And it plays like fucking funeral music over it, like it's supposed to be intense, and it plays like fucking funeral. It's like you're burying your fucking dad or some fucking crap. And it's playing over it, and it's supposed to be really intense and sad because the fucking dad is angry or something.
Right.
It's like, I don't fucking
It's
get
supposed
it,
to
dog.
dictate your emotions with it. You know what pisses me off
It's
about the
trying
music?
so fucking hard.
Exhibit C by Jay Electronica is
It's a
the
good
opening
song.
credits theme, and it's a good song. Jay Electronica banged some royal woman in some country in Europe. That's pretty epic. But
Is
what
that
I
true?
do, yeah, he fucked like the fucking Queen of Ireland, like cucked her husband with Jay Electronica, and that's why Jay Electronica took so long to make music, because he was like banging the Queen of fucking Ireland or some shit.
Okay.
Or like fucking Austria or some shit. He was just banging out some queen. But for some reason it was all censored. I don't know if it's because he's like a devout Muslim or
Yeah, I
something.
don't get that.
Because like Pop Smoke's music's like, N-word, fuck you bitch, you stupid ass N-word.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole thing,
Boogie's-
and it's all completely uncensored. And
Boogie
then-
has a black friend who calls him the N-word all the time.
Right, and then like
The
fucking,
one
they
song
don't say
that's
like
censored.
weed or shit or anything on Exhibit C.
I don't get it.
So I
It's
don't
really
know if
weird.
they for some reason only got the rights to the censored version on accident. Like when you accidentally buy like a censored song on iTunes and you're like, shit.
Fuck.
Not even, because I just pirate music. But like on Apple Music, when you Shazam something, you almost always get the censored versions. You have to click it, figure out what the song name is, then type it back in and click the explicit. I don't know if it was something like that, but with like music rights, or if Jay Electronica or the label specifically said you have to do it. Whatever the case may be, because it's rated R movies, so they can say whatever. Yeah, no, but there's a lot of bullshit with the music too. Yeah, the music's very like, our movie isn't shot well enough that we can actually get you and developed into these characters or actually care about our character, because he's a huge fucking dick the whole time. And he's a fucking asshole, stupid ass, and
I
he's
think-
28 years old.
What it really struggles with is
Everything.
setup and payoff. It struggles with a lot of shit. But it's a lot of the issue.
There's no setup and no payoff for anything.
No, there's a lot of setup that just doesn't
Like
go
what?
anywhere.
Name setup.
Because they do stuff. They fucking...
There's things
I have-
that a traditional screenwriter would use as setup, but they're just copying
Yeah,
and
but they don't...
pasting it into their script, but they don't know how to set it off.
They
and don't
copy
think to
paste.
set it
They
off.
copy paste all this setup, but then they don't do any
They don't.
payoff.
I don't even know they have. I don't know if they know if they understand that they have to pay it off.
Because
Like there's shit that's set up that it's like okay, like there's just a scene where okay the girl doesn't really like him because he's kind of a douche. He doesn't really learn anything, but then like a random scene later they just are in love,
yeah,
and she wants
Oh,
to suck
I'm
his little
talking, like-
wiener in the cringy scene where it's a minute and a half of
You
him
have-
being like please suck my wiener please.
You have
tiny
all these-
Asian wiener.
you have.
He even says like basically it's a
Yes,
tiny
he
Asian
says he
wiener.
has a tiny Asian wiener. My God, there's
Cringe.
so much like weird setup. Like you have all these scenes where Melvin keeps like holding his mom's hand and stuff, and it's like, is she going along with what he says because they're having an affair?
That's what I
Or
thought was the idea,
Is
but that never comes back up.
like he's only cooperating with her because he's only cooperating with them because he's into her, but then at the end he's just a fucking asshole.
He just turns
He
out he's an
puts
asshole.
his dad
Yep.
in jail and then he blackmails him.
Yeah, they do a
But then-
close up on the mom and him holding hands for like a long time, then her like
yeah,
pulling
and then
away.
like he tries to like touch her wrist and she pulls away, like
it seems like okay, so maybe the idea was maybe he wants to secretly.
he's
bang her
using
mom, but they don't
Boogie
do
to
anything
get
with
close
it.
to the mom, or like him and the mom are secretly having an affair and he's doing this as a favor to her. Like I
Right.
don't know what's I don't understand the dynamic of why.
I mean, if you do a close-up on an object or an action like that, you'd think it as a setup. But then, there's awkward, weird close-ups all over this movie, like at the end with the eyeballs.
I don't know what they're going
There's a part at the end where, like, for a straight minute, it just shows everyone's eyeballs.
It's like the entire last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, there's a long time where they keep showing people's eyeballs. And it's like they almost wanted to like put something super artistic in there, but the movie doesn't warrant it, so it just is annoying and doesn't say anything. There's no point to it. It could be a shit movie and have something to say, and maybe I'd be like, okay, I kind of respect what they were doing, even though the movie kind of falls flat otherwise. The issue is there's nothing to warrant it. Yeah, it is a stupid basketball movie that doesn't have a fucking plot.
There's so much stuff
that makes sense or
there's
matters.
So much stuff in this movie.
It's densely
that feels
garbage.
Like it's supposed to be set up.
It's a dense
that's
piece
just
of
never
shit.
paid off. Like there's so many random scenes. Like there's this fucking scene where he rants about how fucking he's like everyone in the world likes beef and broccoli, and Chinese people are the only people who put it together or something. This is like a 5-minute long scene.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And he's
of
like,
scenes.
he's like, in Ireland they serve broccoli on the side with their steak, and in fucking Italy they serve broccoli on the side with their steak, and Chinese people put the beef and broccoli together, and that's all Americans remember them for. And it's like, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me.
There's so much that is fucking pointless.
There's this entire scene towards the start where his dad is making him watch some tennis game where a Chinese guy wins, and he's like, this is a big moment in American history. And they just go back and forth listing off every important thing that Chinese Americans have ever done. They're like, some Chinese American guy fucking invented fucking Gorilla Glue or some fucking crap. And it's like a 6-minute scene where they just go back and forth listing off every important thing an Asian American has ever done. And then at the end they're like, all that stuff is kind of like really not important, but you should win a basketball game because that would be really important. It's like, what the fuck are you on? It's some fucking, this whole movie, it's some fucking, it's made by the guy who made Fresh Off the Boat. It's some fucking 50-year-old Asian guy who's pretending to be a 17-year-old Asian guy, who's pretending to be a 17-year-old black guy, who's being acted by a 28-year-old Asian guy, who's fucking, it's like, it's some fucking weird power fantasy by this fucking insecure Asian man's self-insert where he's really cool with the black people, and he's hood, and he fucking, he's not some dweeby Asian kid who fucking makes crappy sitcoms. He's a fucking cool black guy, Asian guy with his character specifically says he's like, I have an above average. He's like, I have an above average dick. I measured it. My Asian wiener.
I'm a genius.
My Asian wiener is above average.
I'm a genius. I'm fucking ripped, and I'm good at basketball, and I'm definitely
ripped,
not a self-insert.
I'm good at basketball. Black people think I'm cool, which means I'm cool. And there's like that one scene where he's like, he has his Catcher in the Rye hot take, and his teacher's like, "You're actually really a fucking, you're a fucking genius
you're
deep
a fucking
down.
Genius.
You should talk more in class because you're a fucking genius.
Fucking cock because
and
you're a genius.
Sexy black
have you ever gotten your
women want to
fucking
have
cock
sex
sucked?
with you.
Have you ever gotten your cock sucked by a very attractive African American woman? And he's like, as a matter of fact, no, not yet.
It's so
that's 2 scenes
it's
from
so
now.
fucking weird.
Click the skip scene like twice on your DVD, and you'll see me talking
It's
about my undersized
such a
penis
weird-
for 6 minutes, and then.
It's so.
Can we talk about his friend Taco from Odd Future and the subplot with his Instagram thought girlfriend who's just there in the background?
You mean the Afro guy from Bumblebee copy pasted into this movie, played by the same guy? The Afro guy from Bumblebee.
Him, but that's not who he is. He's Taco from Odd Future, but same actor.
I can't believe we've gone this long without mentioning how fucking boomer this feels when.
Oh, for sure.
There's like
when he's like, "What's up, cuz?" Good friends, fucking.
He does like a bunch of Zoomer shit to try to make his character feel young. Like there's this part
But
where he
looks
goes.
fucking elderly.
The character looks elderly. He's played by a 28-year-old, and the guy has like a lumpy face and doesn't look 28
The guy
at
could be
all.
35.
He doesn't look. He could be 35.
I've seen 35, 40-year-olds who look younger.
He walks into the clothing store that his future girlfriend works at and makes fun of some white girl for wearing a shirt that's too big or something. And then they walk outside and they're talking. And I don't remember exactly what is said, but she's like, I hate these Instagram girl thirst trap. They bring in business, so I need to work. I need to
Fortnite
tolerate them.
And
he's like, yeah, who doesn't hate a thirst trap? And
Go
it's
back
like he's
to
like
TikTok, you kids.
It's like he went to Urban Dictionary and Googled like newest, and he's
Top
like
10.
thirst trap. That's a thing that Zoomers talk about. Instagram thirst trap, hottie thoughty.
Right.
And he has all these fucking
But
Zoomer words in there that he doesn't
Taco from Odd
understand.
Future's about to fuck the Instagram thoughty girl, and then in the back, but then she turns out to be best friends with the black girl, and then in the background they're just always together in like a relationship. She's like, I have a boyfriend, and then he's like, oh, that sucks. And then like for the rest of the movie, they're just in the background together.
Yeah, and there's
It's not a subplot that's ever paid off. They just put a bunch of attention on it, and they kind of have this background story.
I like
it's
the
almost
fact
like
that
the
the
deleted
subplot
scenes
is
probably say.
I like the fact that the subplot is Boogie and the Afro guy walk into the clothing store.
To find girls.
Boogie's girlfriend kicks him out, and then Afro guy snorts spray paint in the store with the girl, and then he says like, "You're a cool girl," and she's like, "You're mean," and walks away. And then the scene ends, and then in the next, like, every scene after that, they're just, like, dating.
I like how she's not even, like, considered, like, a bad... Like, in a normal movie, you'd think, okay, she snorts spray paint, maybe that'll come into play.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It's
he
not
snorts
played
spray
for
paint
comedy.
once.
She
and he's like,
snorts
wow,
spray paint
that's
to be...
wild.
And he's like, oh, you trying to rebel from your parents by snorting spray paint? I knew this dude in my high school. He pissed in the water fountain a lot. He actually died from snorting spray paint.
That's true.
And this movie's just like makes a joke about snorting spray paint, and then that's it. Not that I like that guy because he's a fucking asshole. Corey, my friend, you know what? Bleep
We don't
that
need
out.
to talk about it.
My friend kicked his ass, and he's a dick. And okay, cut all that out. Anyways, you know. There's no condemning of
just
snorting
like
spray paint. It's just like a funny scene, I guess. Like, oh, the white girl's rebelling from her parents by snorting spray paint. And then for the rest of the movie, we're just going to be in the background as a couple, even though she specifically says she's not single.
This
So
whole
there's no
movie
real
is just like some
explanation.
shitty try-hard bullshit where the fucking sitcom guy was trying to prove himself as artistic and just tried way too hard with like the fucking
entrepreneur.
like the entire last like 5 minutes of this movie is just like close-ups of people's eyes blinking really slow, and it feels like he saw a Wes Anderson movie and he's like, what if I
Not
did
even
some
Wes Anderson,
fucking
like the fucking
Wes Anderson
Darren
crap?
Aronofsky. He's like, I'm going to turn
That's
this.
true.
I'm going to turn this. Remember the Titans one.
He's knocking off a guy who's incredibly try-hard like Darren Aronofsky.
He's
You're
like,
right.
I've seen Darren Aronofsky. I've seen fucking whoever.
Seen Mother.
Steve McDonald or whoever
Steve
the fuck
Martin.
did. Steve McDonald
Steve
who
Martin from
directed.
Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yes, well, fucking white ass generic guy who's a workman director who's never directed anything else good. Remember the Titans,
Yeah.
Rocky. He's like, I'll just smash all this shit together. I want to make Rocky me. He probably pitched this as
Basketball, Rocky,
basketball.
Asian.
He probably said basketball, Rocky, Asian, Darren Aronofsky for the last 12 seconds of the movie. And then the studio somehow gave him money because he made the fucking hit sitcom Fresh Off the Boat.
I don't know. I feel like
You know, in fairness to this movie, the
I feel like
actors in it were all decent. Pot Smoke didn't do anything, but like the main
they're
two
fine.
leads were fine.
Actually, I
Considering
think
it was this main dude's first feature. I didn't think he was that bad.
the main dude is fine, but he's horribly miscast.
Yes.
I think his love interest, the black girl, is both good and actually somewhat believable as a high schooler. Where
Even though she's older than
Boogie-
him, she's 30.
yes,
31.
but she passes better
Right.
than he does. Boogie is an okay actor, but he does not pass as a high schooler in the slightest.
Although I don't blame that on the actor.
It's
If
not
I
his
was,
fault.
bro.
Like-
If I was 65 and they said, and this guy came up to me and said, and I was an actor looking for work and never had a feature film, but I wanted to act, and this director came up to me and said, "Look,
I mean, I don't blame him
I'm
for
trying
taking
to."
it. It's not
right.
his fault. He's a good
That's what I'm
actor.
saying. It's not his fault at all.
He's a fine actor.
It's
but-
the casting director and the director's fault for picking a man that's 28 that looks like he's 35 playing a 17, 18-year-old.
No, he's fine.
It's hard to take this seriously as
I
a
feel
coming
like-
of age story. Like, you look at someone like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man and it's more believable.
The movie's biggest problem is that it's fucking try hard, dude. It's try hard, artistic. Like, the entire last 5 minutes where it's just like, it's got the close-up on his eyes, and then it cuts to the girlfriend's eyes, and then it cuts to his parents' eyes, and it cuts back to his eyes. It feels like something. It feels like he watched a Wes Anderson movie, and he's like, oh, so you just do some kind of like creative art shit, and people think your movie's deep.
That's probably
Like,
what he sat there saying.
He took all the wrong lessons from Wes Anderson.
And he's like, just anybody who's artistic, just in general. Because
like,
I want to make some artistic
like
shit.
if Wes Anderson ended a movie on
had-
close-ups of people's eyes, you'd be like, yeah.
The
But when this guy does it, it's like,
see, but Wes Anderson's smart enough to understand there needs to be a point.
yes,
You can't just
exactly.
do it. You can't just do it. There's a
Exactly.
difference between just doing it and doing something with a point. Like,
Yes.
I'm sure those same shots could be taken out and put in a movie. Like,
Yes.
you could make fucking an entire movie around those shots where those shots work perfectly, and I'm thinking, like, wow, amazing idea. I totally understand.
Yes.
Boogie, the basketball movie where the character's a fucking dickbag and everything's stupid and terrible.
He's
It's
a
not
fucking
the movie
asshole.
to do artistic
Pop
bullshit.
Smoke's an asshole. His parents are
Pop
fucking
Smoke's
assholes.
not an asshole, though.
Pop Smoke's
You
the
think
only
about
character
it.
who's not a fucking
You
asshole.
think about it.
Actually,
He accidentally hurt somebody. He laughed about it, but then Boogie's like, "I do it too." Okay, so that was
Okay.
kind of a dick move.
Pop
But
Smoke's
most
the
of
only guy
reason-
who's not an asshole.
Most of the reason we're supposed to hate
Oh.
Pop Smoke is because
You know
they
what I have
say
to
hate
mention?
Pop Smoke. Zayden, what are your thoughts on Boogie? Okay, you said your thoughts.
I think I've said a lot of my thoughts. There's one thing I want to mention real brief. The movie ends right before the credits with a Pop Smoke memorial thing, and they have the worst picture of Pop Smoke possible.
He's like this.
He's
And
like
he's wearing, like,
he's wearing
fucking-
these gigantic sunglasses, and he's like he's like hunched over. It's like the worst possible picture they could have picked, and it's like they have like this fancy cursive text. It's like rest in peace, whatever, Pop Smoke, whatever, and he's like leaned over and hunched over. He's like, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
but
literally,
yeah.
that was the first. It like fades to black after all these artistic shots where he wants to be Darren Aronofsky, and
All
then
these eye
and then
close-ups
it's R.I.P. Pop Smoke, and it's just the worst picture. It looks like a cropped.
It's so.
I honestly think it was probably from one of his mixtapes, or
It
just found the
probably
first
was. I
thing
don't
on Google Images and
it's
cropped it
it's
really weird.
really awkward.
It's cringe.
But
it's
yeah.
cringy.
Pretty much everyone in this movie, except for Pop Smoke, is a gigantic fucking asshole. And it makes the movie incredibly unlikable. Anyway, Connor, would you recommend Boogie?
Yes. Because this is the first movie I've seen in like a long time where it's actually just funny bad. Where it's like, oh, you tried, but
Yeah.
they failed. And it's funny because of it. It's actually funny. Would I recommend it genuinely? Hell fucking no. But as a funny movie, yeah. So wait, would you recommend this movie?
I'm gonna say no. It's a really try-hard movie. Like, it tries to be artistic and fucking whatever the fuck. It wants to be deep, and it's fucking not. The fact that they felt the need to spell out that it's a coming-of-age movie constantly by cutting to these fucking English class sections where the fucking hip professor's like, this is coming-of-age stories, this is your...
Boogie TM
I'm pretty sure-
is a coming of age
I'm pretty
movie.
sure in the first fucking thing, he's like, you guys... I'm pretty sure in the first class with the English teacher, he's like, you guys don't know it yet, but you guys are all
coming
living
of
your own
age."
coming-of-age stories.
You guys
And
are
it's
coming
like,
of age. You
Okay,
Boogie.
I get it. The fucking...
He doesn't
fucking
really come of age. He doesn't learn shit.
a
so it's
fresh
not
off the
coming
boat
age.
guy has his fucking hammer, and the hammer has a fucking imprint on it that says coming of age, and he's like just beating you over the head with it like Ralph the Movie Maker beat the fuck out of that fucking prostitute or whatever the fucking shit happened in
It's
Lover.
not even a good coming of age story.
It's a terrible coming of age story. He doesn't grow as a person.
He just wins at basketball. That's his coming of age.
He beats Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke is the one who has a coming of age when he finally learns to realize.
Dude, Pop Smoke
something.
is. Here's my fan theory. Pop Smoke is the Rocky of this movie. He fails. Boogie was probably like the Pop Smoke of the other school, you know. So his parents were like, "Dude, you have to beat Boogie. You have to beat Pop Smoke to get the."
This movie should have been told from Pop Smoke's perspective, because Pop Smoke is the one.
And then he misses, and he learns humility because of it, and he becomes a better person. And he's just proud of himself for trying at the end of the day. So he shakes Boogie's hand and says, "Nice job." And then he hugs his girlfriend Adrian, and they jump around in circles.
This might be a fucking asshole thing to say, but I feel like not only is the
director
fucking
should never make another movie.
Not only is the director LARPing as a fucking black person, he's like, if I was in high school now, I'd be like the cool Asian guy who's down with the black people, you know.
Right.
Not only that. But I feel like he's trying to like compensate for the fact that he wasn't Asian enough as a kid, like he was too white, because he's like always talking about like all this fucking Asian shit. He's like the fucking year of the snake and whatever the fuck, and the fucking he goes to the fucking. He's always talking about how like the youngest person pours the tea and all this crap. Like he's trying to compensate for not being Asian enough or some crap. Like, I feel like this is just, like, the most fucking major cope movie of all time. Like, he's just going through a fucking midlife crisis and trying to cope with the fact that he's Chinese or some fucking shit.
What if I was 28? What if I was 34 years old playing basketball? And
what if I was 34 years old in high school boinking 16-year-old black women?
Yep.
Whatever the fuck. Anyway, would you recommend Boogie?
I think I already said
do
no.
that?
I asked you if you
I'll fix it in the editing, but I wouldn't recommend Boogie. It's fucking cancer.
There you have it.